Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Mark Elswig, president of Mark Elswig Company, Executive Recruiters. I've been working with wirehouse, regional, and independent advisors for just about 40 years, which is a lot. But anyway, today we're going to talk about marketing. What's working in marketing today, which is a very pertinent topic for all advisors. And I guess, excuse me, as everyone knows, you can be fantastic at setting up an investment program. You can be really good at crafting a customized financial plan. But if you can't really market, if your marketing skills are deficient, you're not going to do well in our business. And that's why I'm delighted to have with me today Marie and Jonny Swift of Impact Communications. Their firm, Marie is the founder and CEO. Jonny is vice president. Their firm is one of the preeminent public relations and marketing communications firms in our industry. Together, they have something like 45 plus years experience in working with both financial advisors and financial organizations. So I'm sure that we're going to learn really a lot, and I'm excited about it. And Marie and Jonny, I thank you both very much for being here.
Great to be here.
What Yes, thank you, and really and welcome. Thank you for being here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to chat with them for about 20 minutes or so, and then we'll leave the final 10 minutes open for your for a Q&A. And so why don't we just like jump into it? I guess one question I had is, a year is ending, a new year is about to start. Um, how should advisors, as we get into 2025, a new year, how should advisors think about marketing? What should they be thinking about?
I'll jump in on that, Mark. So I've been
Thank you.
reflecting on the 30 years that I've been doing marketing and PR with and for
Mm-hmm.
financial advisors and allied institutions. And what occurs to me is that everything old is new again. Yes, we've got Gen AI. Yes, we've got technology. Yes, we can be omnipresent. We can do emails and digital marketing and fill the airwaves and SEO and all of the things that we're going to talk about as we dig into the how to. But the fundamentals are still the same. You really need to be thinking about the people and what value you're bringing and what we call the three M's. So it's as valid today as it ever was. Maybe start with an assessment at the end of the year or at the new year. Who is your market and why? What's driving you to serve those individuals, those families, those organizations? And what sets you apart? So that's your market, really making sure that that first M, the three M's, your market is aligned with your message. And that's the second M in the three M's. And then once you've got your market clearly defined, make sure that you are not having any slippage on your messaging. You want to move into your methodologies or your mediums. And that would be the tactical execution. What are you going to do to get the word out to more of the right people with the right message at the right time? And so we are going to recommend that advisors who are working with us revisit this annually. That they look at their market, their message, and their mediums, and they look at their marketing plan. And so maybe we'll talk later about what goes into the
Mm-hmm.
marketing plan, but it's a good
Mm-hmm.
view. And I know, Jonny, you also wanted to talk a little bit about another fundamental that we embrace at Impact, which can be a handy framework for that marketing plan.
hmm Yeah, and this fundamental framework is constantly evergreen, no matter how you kind of fill it with new technologies or AI solutions or things like that. But we always talk about the peso model. And so those are all elements of your digital media and just your media in general and elements that you market. So peso stands for paid, earned, shared, and owned. But we kind of like to flip it on its head and go in the order of OESP. So starting with O, that's your owned media. So that would be your website, that would be your messaging, your branding, your logo, your marketing collaterals, really making sure that your website is up to date. At the end of every year, I always recommend that advisory firms kind of do a website audit, make sure your website is still relevant, up to date, it functions smoothly, it's mobile friendly, it's quick and fast, it's a nice user experience, and that all of your messaging is up to date and there's not anything that's kind of out of date or not relevant on your website anymore. After O, you go to the E. That stands for earned media. So that's also PR activity or credibility
Mm-hmm.
marketing. When you get featured as an expert or a thought leader in national industry or local publications, whether that's being quoted in an article or writing your own article that gets published in a third-party publication, being a featured guest on podcasts or webinars or video segments within your local community or industry or whatever it may be, finding those audiences that you want to reach, getting some of that earned media is really, really important and goes a long way for building your thought leadership and being seen as a credible expert. And then next in the peso model would be S, which can stand for shared or social. So obviously, social media is more important than ever, having a strong presence. Social media really plays into your overall online presence and just allows you to build an audience there, a great place to push out the content that you're producing and creating, and just, bring more people into the top of your marketing funnel. So social media is really important to have a consistent presence there. And then the last element of the peso model is the P, which stands for paid, which we do de-emphasize a little bit for many advisors. We'd rather have you focus on earned media and, earning your way in as a thought leader into these publications rather than paying for opportunities or things like that. But there is sometimes good opportunities for paying for placements, for doing digital advertisements. Maybe that's in a local magazine or something like that. It's going to reach an audience that you specialize in, one of your niches or something along those lines. So de-emphasize the P, the paid element of the peso model, but we really find that when you can kind of utilize a good mix of all four elements, that it allows advisors to find this new space right in the middle of the Venn diagram of those four elements. And it starts to make your marketing machine really run as a well-oiled machine. And it brings up all of your elements of your media activity when you have strong owned elements on your website and all your brand collateral, and then you're pushing that out through social media and you're earning your way into these third-party publications as a credible thought leader and expert that you're also pushing out through social, and then the paid elements can kind of supplement all of that. We really find that advisors start making really big progress on their marketing efforts when they utilize all four elements of the peso model.
Right. So it sounds like all the four elements really have to work together, right, as
Hmm.
one comprehensive plan. And the
Hmm.
other thing one of the other things you said that was interesting is that you feel advisors should do a yearly audit. Maybe you could talk about that a little bit, because probably now is a good time to do that.
Now is a great time. Yeah, just reviewing, we recommend that, about every 5 years or so, you really do a revamp on your website, maybe on your logo, because, these things start to look out of date a little bit, and you might need a revamp, a redesign on your logo on your website. Website platforms change and become out of date or irrelevant. So just, every year, I think it's time to do an audit and just review your website, your collateral, your branding, your messaging, your imagery on your website platform, and then every 5 years or so, do a refresh. But it's worth reviewing every year to see if that time has come. And you can talk to colleagues, talk to partners, talk to COIs, talk to your clients
Hmm.
even, and just get their opinions and see how they feel about your website and your brand, if they're proud to work with you, if they would like to see any kind of difference in the user experience when they come to your website. But Marie, what are your thoughts on year-end audits?
Well, and just hygiene, right? Making sure that the links aren't broken and that everything
Hmm.
is optimized for SEO. There's the content that the Google spiders and the search engine spiders catalog and crawl, and now AI is crawling and cataloging, making sure that the things that they see that human beings don't see is up to date, but then also the things that human beings see that can also feed into what the search engines and the cataloging with AI are dishing up. So we're going to talk about content marketing in a minute too. But before we go there,
Hmm.
dig into other
Hmm.
questions. I wanted to just mention to our viewers today that we actually have a
Mhm.
PESO case study on our
Oh,
website,
great.
impactcommunications.org, and it shows with statistics and numbers how we helped one small RIA grow by, I'll call it simply, embracing the PESO model. So if you do this, which is how we market our firm, you will never want for business. And we know that there is an issue with advisory firms who are more on the entrepreneurial side growing. Organic growth is hard. And even the best run, the biggest firms in the Schwab Impact Study, they're showing that, 3% per year organic growth is pretty good. Well, I would challenge all of our viewers today to do better. Do better with omni-channel marketing, do better with relationship marketing, do better to embrace the PESO model and the 3Ms, because there are people out there who need you, who need your help. And we know that the people who are part of your community, your tribe, Mark, if you will, that they're the people who should be out there more, doing more business.
That's it. That's interesting. So that's great. So therefore our listeners can really just go to your website and see an actual case study of how the PESO model helped an RIA firm grow.
Absolutely.
That's
Just go to the
good.
advisor tab on impactcommunications.org and hover over that, and you'll see a lot of sub pages pop up, and there will be a lot to help you there with the PESO model and understanding how it works in action.
That sounds really good. You raised, I guess before we go to content marketing, I wanted just to sneak in another question. How do you if someone wants to become like earned the phrase was earned marketing, or in other words, how does someone get exposure in media publications, and what kind of steps can advisors take to kind of enhance their presence there? And any thoughts on that?
I'll jump in on that, Johnny, and then
Yeah.
maybe you can augment. So the best way to get on the radar of a journalist is to read their content, to listen to their show, to watch their show, and then find out how to contact them. It's not hard to find the journalist or the show producer or the host and send them an honest compliment. I appreciated your column on XYZ. Have you ever thought about expanding that line of reasoning? Maybe it's around tax fraud or tax planning. Have you thought
Mhm.
about additional ways that you could help your constituents, your viewers, your readers understand and do more in that area? So springboard off of something that they're already writing about or talking about, and then pay them an honest compliment and feed them an idea. We call that the read and feed program, or the
Mhm.
read and
Mhm.
listen.
Mhm.
Take an interest in their work and don't just be spamming journalists with content ideas that are off topic. Maybe they've already covered it. Maybe they'll never cover it. There's one journalist who is one of the top editors at CNBC. He's the personal finance editor, and he is always lambasting people and PR people in particular about the ham-handed pitches that they send to him for like medical technology. Well, he doesn't
Right.
cover that. Do your homework,
Right.
people. And so take an interest. These are human beings, journalists who are trying to provide great content for their constituents. And if you can support them in doing that, they'll come back to you again and again. Johnny, I would also throw it over to you to talk a little bit about, news releases.
Mhm.
Mhm. Yeah,
Great.
well, obviously, working with a respected PR firm in the industry like Impact, always going to lead to lots of great opportunities. But that read and feed method we find is a great way that we even utilize, just following their work and pitching, stuff that would make sense for them. Also connecting with these journalists, whether they're industry journalists or local journalists within your community, connecting with them on LinkedIn, following them on Twitter, wherever they are. A lot of times they're looking for good sources within their community and are asking, posting on social media questions or topics that they're looking for good sources for. So make sure to follow them and reach out when it makes sense. But news releases is a great way to be proactive with your earned media. So if you start a new podcast or launch a new educational series that would be helpful for a certain group of consumers or investors or
Mhm.
pre-retirees, that's something that might be a big announcement and be newsworthy. Something like a seminar series you're going to hold in your local community might be really interesting to local publications within your community that might be newsworthy and get picked up in local newspapers or magazine issues or things like that. When you're providing educational value to the community, um, something like an award you've won, some kind of recognition you've won within your local community or within an industry publication or industry awards program or something like that. Those are that's a newsworthy announcement that you can put out as a news release and email that out to industry journalists, local journalists, and even if you don't really necessarily get coverage with your news, it's a great way for you to pitch these journalists and to stay top of mind with them and continue to build visibility with them so that when they think, they want to cover a certain story or topic and they're thinking about who in their community they might know that would be a good expert or subject matter expert or thought leader or a good source for this article, you continue to stay top of mind and come up as a possible source for whatever kind of story they might be covering.
That's great. So you're positioning yourself properly. And also, in some ways, you're helping them do a better job by giving them ideas on things they might cover or
Hmm.
another perspective on things that they're doing. So you're
Hmm.
actually a valuable resource to them as opposed to just asking them for business, so to speak.
Right.
That's
So
Hmm.
called
that's
advertisement. And if you are providing a commercial message, they'll expect you to
mhm,
for it. So seek first to serve, provide the answers to their questions, take an interest in their work, sign up for the media opportunities if you're a member of NAPFA or FPA or one of the other organizations that somehow gets requests and parcels them out to their members. When we get press requests at Impact Communications, we always think about how can we serve the journalist first and foremost, because we know that that's going to pay dividends. They're going to come back to us because they know we're going to give them great quality resources. And then we make sure that our best clients get the best opportunities, whether it's Barron's or New York Times or the local newspaper or an industry publication.
that's a great motto. Seek first to serve. That's a great
Hmm.
that's a great motto. Why don't we talk a little bit about content marketing? What might advisors need to know about that and how can they do
Yeah.
better at that?
Yeah, so content marketing is a huge part of your digital communications. And at Impact,
Mm-hmm.
another framework we like to always harp on is the four C's of
Mm-hmm.
content. So the four C's start with canned content. So that'd be just like licensed content that you pay to use. And then next would be curated content. So other content that you find, that you endorse, that you think might still be valuable for your audience. And both canned and curated content, they allow you to show your character and your values just based on the content that you choose to use. But it doesn't really set you apart as an expert or a thought leader
Mm-hmm.
because that's not really content you produced. So the next step up in the four C's is custom content. So truly unique content that you create, that you produce. It allows you to show your character and values by what you choose to write about or blog about or record a video about or do a podcast episode on. But it also really
Mm-hmm.
allows you to show your expertise. And it's also really helpful for SEO because Google and other search engines really value unique content that's truly unique to your website and to your online presence. And then the fourth C at the top of the tier is credibility or celebrity content. So going back to the earned marketing, the PR activity, that credibility
Mm-hmm.
content that positions you as an expert or a thought leader in third-party publications because it's pretty much an endorsement by those popular publications that what you have to say is really valuable. And so it allows you to show your character and values, position you as an expert and a thought leader. It's really great for SEO, not only because of the unique content, but because you're getting mentioned in these other third-party publications. Maybe they're linking back to your website. Backlinking is a really important strategy for SEO. And then it also
Mm-hmm.
helps you develop that kind of halo effect in your industry or within your local community and really be positioned as a thought leader or maybe even a celebrity if you do it right within your community or your industry. So, utilizing a mix of those four C's, we really think is important. Obviously, not everyone has all the money or time in the world to do all credibility marketing. Not everyone has all the time to do completely custom content and be blogging and doing a podcast or a video every week. very time consuming, but you do want to have a good amount of that, but then supplement with curated content, supplement with maybe canned content that you tweak a little bit and make more of
Right.
your own, customize your canned content a little bit and utilize a mix of the four C's. And you really want a good amount of content going out on your website, across all of your online assets, on social media, just to help position you as a thought leader, to help you stay top of mind with your audience, and also for SEO purposes, because Google really values websites and online assets that are getting updated on a regular basis with valuable information.
That's a great point. But what you put out there has to be unique and
Mhm.
consistent with your own values and brand. It can't just be
Exactly.
canned content.
And
Like,
there are ways to, also supplement with AI, Marie, if you want to talk a little
I
bit
was going
about
to
that.
read my mind. I was going to say once you get started, you need to be consistent. So how do you keep
Hmm.
up with this? Pick one
Hmm.
thing and do it really well, and then add another thing and do that really well. But we're talking about content. So if you have one big piece of, we call it pillar content, and you can take that big piece and slice it and dice it into lots of little snackable pieces that you can put in emails, you can put it on your website, you can put it on your YouTube channel. You can have YouTube shorts. You can have the full length video. You can put on social media. So one big piece and slice and dice it, make it hyper relevant, be consistent, and then try generative AI. I have to say, I was a skeptic when I first started thinking about even using ChatGPT and these other tools, but now I see how there's efficiencies gained. It doesn't replace the human being, but it gives us a springboard. It can help us with ideas. It can help us when we're stuck. We have writer's block. It can create listicles for us based on a piece of killer content that we've already created. So try a little Gen AI. And again, on our website, I'm going to offer two resources. If you go to impactcommunications.org and look for the news page, you'll see that recently I wrote an article for Forbes Agency Council, and it's about 1,200 words on how to use generative AI as a springboard for ideation and content creation. And then also, if you look under the advisor tab, there's a downloads area for conference downloads. You can actually see a workshop that I led for the National Association of Personal Financial Advisors about 3 weeks ago in Nashville, where we spent an hour talking about the differences between technology versus AI and how tech and AI plus humans, that's the magic trifecta to create good content. So those are free for the taking, and just go to our website.
Oh, that sounds really great. What about, I wanted to also to ask you just a little bit about your thoughts on marketing plans. A lot of people have marketing plans, but how do you build a marketing plan that's actually going to help you grow?
Well, as we mentioned before, many advisory firms are not really growing. They might have
Hmm.
market gains, but they're not really adding net new clients or net new assets. So a marketing plan we think is an essential thing to have. Basically, you might want to have your goals and objectives, your SMART goals. That would be things with specificity. What are you trying to
Hmm.
and why, but then do
Hmm.
a SWOT analysis. So that would be your strengths, your challenges, your opportunities, and your threats, and put that into a quadrant and talk with people on your team or people that are on your advisory board. In fact, have an advisory board, do a client survey, have some affinity groups where you can get close to the people who understand who you are, the value you are providing, and use their real words in your messaging. In your marketing plan, you want to have a portion that's devoted to content marketing. We've talked a lot about that. You can lay out your budget, your calendar, who is going to be responsible for what, and maybe do that we like to do it for 13 months instead of a year at a time, because it gives us a year and a month. We get the pavement, the wheels on the road, the pavement, and then we go back and we refresh and we refine. So, Johnny, I know you had a couple things to add about marketing plans as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah,
Right.
so I think that one of the really important things when you're building your marketing plan is you need to figure out how you want to bring people into the top of your marketing funnel. So it's really important to build out your online presence. And we like to think about online presence as like a digital spider web in the cloud, with, your website is the hub of your online presence, and all of these interconnected strings linking back to your website or driving web traffic back to your website. And so obviously social media profiles is a big part of that. Getting featured in third-party publications, maybe a YouTube channel, maybe a podcast page, maybe you wrote a book and so you have a profile on Amazon or Goodreads or something like that. Maybe you do guest blogging somewhere else. Getting as many relevant online assets as you can, building out your digital spider web, and just building your audience in all of these different places online and driving traffic back to your website and bringing more people into the top of your marketing funnel. So really determining where you're going to focus your efforts on in building out those online assets and bringing more people into the funnel, and then determining how you're going to nurture those leads once you bring them into the top of your funnel. So what kind of content you're going to create. Maybe you're a really good writer and you want to focus on blog content. Maybe you're great on camera, so you want to focus on video content, or things like that. So just figuring out what your strengths are, what kind of content you want to produce to feed your website and to feed all these other online assets and nurture these leads and work them down through your funnel through constant communications, drip marketing through email and through good content, making sure that you're staying top of mind, you're continuing to build share of mind, you are continually providing value through this content that you're creating, and having multiple touch points over time to where you build your trust and authority and credibility with your leads and work them down through the funnel to where you ultimately convert them from a prospect into a client. So really just determining what avenues, what online assets, what content you're going to focus on, because we none of us have time to do it all, and it's obviously a constant build that takes quite a while. But focusing on your strengths, and then also just talking to your clients and your community and finding out what social media channels that they're on, how they like to digest their content, whether they like to watch videos, whether they prefer to read, whether they like to listen to podcasts, determining what kind of content they're going to be most likely to digest, I think is super important as well as part of your marketing plan.
I know that's really great advice. Let me see. Unless there's anything you'd like to add, maybe I'll just go to some Q&A unless there's another
I have
topic
just
that
one
we
last
missed.
thought about it's hard to do it all. Most of our
Terrific.
comments so far have been toned towards individual practitioners, but if you're a part of it,
Mm-hmm.
you can share the responsibility. We've worked with a number of large investment advisory firms where the partners all take turns and they have a rotation
Mm-hmm.
topic so that they can divide and conquer. So there's strength in numbers, and as you grow, you can certainly outsource if you don't have somebody on your team, but there should be other subject matter experts that you could tap to help fill this content funnel.
Right. Well, no, that sounds like good advice. Let's see just wait a second and see if we can have what questions we're going to get here. Well, let's see. Here's one that I think you partially covered. It said, well, you may have covered really. It said, which marketing methods do you recommend for the best results? Do you like video better than a podcast? Is LinkedIn posting better? How do you figure it out? I know that's a
So again, just
hard
harkening back
question.
to
Yes.
just determining what you're best at and whether you're a better
Mm-hmm.
writer, better on camera, and also what you think you're going to be most likely to be committed to and be consistent at producing. So if you think
Mm-hmm.
you're good on camera, but you think, getting a regular cadence of filming is going to be tough, you want to just, no matter what you choose to do for the content you're producing, that you're consistent with it and that you're committed to it and you stick with it, because it is going to take a little while to build that audience and to start getting traction on the content that you're producing and creating. But and then again, also ask your clients what they're interested in, how they like
Mm-hmm.
to digest their content, what kind of topics they're interested in, and that'll also help your content go a lot further. But no matter what method you choose or what medium you choose to get your content, to get your expertise and thought leadership out there, I think that LinkedIn posting and just having an active social media presence is vital, regardless of if you choose video or podcasts or blogs or whatever. That, you want to have your social media presence and profile set up, staked out, looking good, so that people are able to find you there if they're looking for you. And also,
Hmm.
it's just a great place to build your audience and a great place to get visibility on that content and build your profile, build your thought leadership. So whether you're doing video or podcasts or blogs or whatever it is, however you're creating your content, always want to have a strong social media presence and be pushing that out through LinkedIn.
Let me take one more. Um, here's one. What can it, what can advisors do to solidify client relationships, and grow their business that way? Any thoughts there?
We've had great success with our clients producing small affinity events. They know what the clients like because they survey them and they catalog that in their CRM. So whether that's going on a hunting expedition or a golfing, evening or event or a gala, or if you have a survey, if you have an advisory board, if you're in touch with your client, then you can create these smaller affinity events where it's based on a passion that they have. Maybe it's wine, maybe it's travel. So affinity events will help you to grow, especially if it's a bring a friend event. And also, if you have the opportunity to just draw closer to your clients that way. Let me get rid of that
Mhm.
phone call that was coming in. Jonny, could you speak a little bit about client testimonials? I know that that
Yeah.
can't be appropriate for everybody who's here today, but it's
Right.
a thing now.
Yeah,
Good.
and I think that it all ties into like surveys and just feedback as well as, your clients and your audience want to have an opportunity to give feedback. So whether it's an internal survey, that really allows you to see what you're doing well. Gives you the opportunity to shore up potential sore points in a relationship or look for other additional opportunities to serve them better. And then also collecting testimonials and endorsements if you're an SEC registered investment advisor as part of a survey kind of process, that just helps them feel like they're able to give feedback. It helps them, solidify that relationship. And if they are happy with the service they're providing to them, obviously getting that kind of testimonial can pay dividends and in reaching other prospects and just having that proof of serving clients well. One other area I think is really important for solidifying client relationships is pro-personal marketing, and that is a mix of professional and personal marketing. And we see advisors having a lot of success with this on social media, especially. And that pro-personal content is, really it's that behind the scenes mix of professional personal content where you kind of lift the veil and show behind the curtain of your firm and the people at your firm. So, posting photos of you or team members on vacation or out at supporting a local sports team or volunteering in the community around the holidays or doing some kind of food drive at the office or something like that where it's not all investment focused content, retirement
Mhm.
focused content,
Right.
financial content, but really that pro personal content that shows behind the scenes into the character and culture of the firm and the people at the firm. I think just it really solidifies relationships and allows people to see you as more than their advisor, but also to see you as a friend and as a confidant and someone they would go have a beer or a coffee with and just get to
Right.
know you on a more personal level, which obviously happens over time. But it can really just help people feel more connected to you on social media as well. And that was kind of the whole point of social media when we got started with it. And I think it's ever important today.
Yeah, that's good advice because that way people are not just aware of your competency, but they have a personal connection to you. So
Yeah.
that's really valuable. So I
Hmm.
think we're really bumping up against I guess the half an hour. So let me just thank you both very much. I think I know I got a lot out of it. I'm going to watch the recording to make sure that I can absorb it all. But I know that in a half an hour, you really gave us quite a lot of information, and I really thank you both.
Thanks for
Yeah.
having us.
Thanks for having us, Mark.
Um,
Pleasure.
my great pleasure. My great pleasure. Thank you so much.
All right. Talk to you later.
Talk to you. Bye.
Bye.